Welcome, everybody. We're glad you're here today. There's a couple of things we wanted to be able to do. One is to be able to thank you for your donations. Obviously, we don't get anywhere without people supporting what it is that we're doing. But in looking at support, I know for me, when I look to be able to donate, I want to see what impact, what are you doing with my money? What kind of outcomes are you having at the end of the day? So we kind of want to show our homework here today with Robin, Georgia, and Brian to be able to say what it is that we're doing. There's been a lot of growth and movement in SPI over the last few years. We now have a smaller staff than we've had in years, but we're making greater impact than we have. So we're proud to be able to look in the mirror and know that we're putting that money to good use, and we want to be able to show that to you. I've been connected with SPI for about 9 years, first as a donor, then as a board member, and now as board chair. It's a great organization. When I look at the problems that we have in the world that are just getting worse, SPI has been able to show up to be able to make it happen, and just really appreciate kind of where we're at right now. I would say that in the 9 years I've been dealing with the organization, this is the best leadership team, honestly, that we have had since I've been able to touch the organization and come on board, and it shows in the results that are being made. I'm based out of Asheville, North Carolina, where Seeds has been headquartered for a while. And obviously we went through Hurricane Helene just under 4 months ago. Richard, I thank you again for your work and support and volunteering in the community. One of the things I've learned living here, I'm usually used to looking at it from the outside, is that the press moves on, the world moves on, but these major problems are still the same. So it's going to be a while. But I'm proud to say that one of the things that Brian and Georgia are working on is working with some of our state ag people to see if we can get them supplied with seed with the planting season coming up to be able to make that happen. I'm really excited SPI is able to sow in and potentially help this community, just like we have done in Poland. There was a massive, obviously, refugee outflux from Ukraine that our board members have been working to be able to supply seed to be able to help them as well. So we welcome you today. Hope you're able to sit back and just kind of listen to what it is that's been done here and enjoy the meeting. Thank you. I'll turn it over to you, Robin.
Great, thanks, Pete. So I'm just going to jump right into our presentation. And yes, I just want to thank everybody for joining us today. My name is Robin Love, CEO and President of Seed Programs International. Our work here today is all because of you, and we're excited to share with you all the things we've been working on this last year. So today we're just going to start with a general overview of SPI, then we'll move on to domestic programs and international programs. And then we'll talk some about our development and outreach work, and then we'll end with our plans for this year. So I'm going to start with a video, just talks about SPI, our mission, and gives a couple partner highlights.
Seed Programs International, or SPI, is a nonprofit that partners with local implementing partners around the world to improve food security, strengthen communities, and cultivate sustainable livelihoods by enabling families to grow healthy food. SPI works both internationally and domestically to get quality seeds into the hands of people that can use them the most. We know that improving access to seed, training, and agricultural resources reduces hunger and poverty, improves nutrition, cultivates local skills, and creates climate-resilient food systems. Our programs primarily focus on women, children, crisis recovery, education, and agricultural resilience. Our partners are the heart and soul of our organization. And over our 25-year history, we've had the pleasure of partnering with over 350 organizations in 94 countries. Our goal isn't just to grow more food and keep plates full. It's to build the capacity of local communities and organizations so that we can work ourselves out of a job, one community at a time. One of our longest-term partners is Grow East Africa, which supports communities in the Burji zone of southern Ethiopia. This area has experienced multiple years of severe drought and flash flooding. Grow East Africa was founded in 2015 to provide emergency aid to internally displaced families living in the region. In 2017, SPI started partnering with them to develop an agricultural program to assist with sustainable food development. At the start, our partnership supported a cooperative group of 50 women. We now have expanded the agricultural program to also support 10 youth and 350 farming households in 2 villages, benefiting 2,050 people with direct food access, crop and income diversity, and increased climate resilience in the face of severe drought. The Women's Cooperative Group is now running a training center to provide instruction to families in the community to develop their agricultural skills. Grow East Africa is now well respected in the region for their agricultural programs, and they have a commitment with the local government to grow the program by 36% each year. Another one of our partners is SEEN, Sustainable Community Initiative for Empowerment. This program creates urban gardens in low-income communities in the capital of Uganda, Kampala. In the past 3 years, we have partnered to create 7 school gardens and 2 community gardens. Garden training has been provided to teachers and community members to ensure their knowledge and skills so they feel confident in growing school and home gardens. More recently, a community greenhouse and tool shed with seedlings and gardening supplies was created to empower community members to start their urban gardening journey. So far, over 200 families have started home urban gardens, and this greenhouse and shed will help equip more families with the resources needed to grow their own fresh vegetables at home.
My name is Sime Jordan, and I am from Golden Times Primary School. Thank you for your support. We have planted our garden. We can now eat vegetables like skuma wiki. Thank you very, very much for your support. And we have also formed a club. It's called Golden Times Urban Farmers Club, where we learn more about urban farming.
These are just a few of the programs we support, and each one has their own unique story. From Guatemala to Ukraine, to inner city Chicago to Western North Carolina, from Kyrgyzstan to Cameroon, and everywhere in between. Whether it be school gardens or crisis recovery and refugee camps, farmer outreach in climate vulnerable areas, or a women's cooperative looking to boost incomes to break the cycle of poverty, we are committed to uplifting small organizations around the world. We hope you'll join us.
All right, and this is the impact we had in numbers for last year. So we worked in 19 countries with 63 partners, impacting about 50,000 people. And with that, we provided access to 479,000 packets of seed, which is enough to grow 17 million servings of vegetables. And all of this is because of you, our donors. We want to say thank you so much to everybody that's donated, provided grants, donated seeds, helped us with seed packaging, provided us with connections and just general support. We greatly appreciate all of your help, and yeah, we have a great network, and we love having you on our team. Now I'm going to talk a bit about our domestic programs. So some general highlights is we started some strategic partnerships this year with kidsgardening.org, ChangeX, and corporate partners. So kidsgardening.org is a great resource that develops gardening curriculum for school children or organizations. They also have a community forum where gardeners can post questions and share information. We posted on their forum, and we were able to find more partners through that forum. ChangeX is a platform where people post ideas and then they find corporate partners to fund those ideas. So ChangeX contacted us and asked us to create an idea for creating a gardening club for kids. So we posted the idea and yeah, we've been connected with more partners that way too. They fund the project and we provide them with the technical support and the seeds for the project. And then for corporate partners, we started a partnership with Enza this year, and they were interested in creating gardens near their office locations so that their staff could volunteer at the gardens. So far we are working on one school garden in Salinas, California, and we're gearing up for the spring planting season with them. So all these partnerships and new sources have helped us double the number of domestic partners we have this year. To support our partners, we've also developed a gardening manual to help them. It's just general information how to start a gardening club and gardening program for kids. And yeah, that's available on our website for anybody that's interested in seeing it. These are our locations in the US. We have 31 partners in 31 states. We're fairly spread out. And these include school gardening programs, seed libraries, community educational programs, and food growing and distribution programs. I'm going to talk about a couple program highlights. Chicago Grows Food is in Chicago, Illinois, and this supports underserved communities in Chicago through their Grow Your Groceries program. They create grow kits, which include, this is a picture of one, it includes a little container, soil, seeds, and a instruction manual for growing an herb or vegetable in their home. Last year, they were able to distribute 542 grow kits at 86 distribution sites, mainly schools and community centers. And anyone that was really interested in creating a larger garden was also supported, and 64 larger home gardens were also created. Another partner we had last year was with Wimberley Roots. This one was through our Kids Gardening Connection. This program was started by the Winder Housing Authority to serve underserviced people in the community. It's also located in a food desert. This program includes gardening programs and a teaching kitchen, and we provided them with seeds for their garden and for a pollinator event that they ran. With our support, they were able to increase their harvests by 230%, and they also increased their volunteer hours by 160%. Winder is also the location of, tragically, of a school shooting last year. So this community garden also served as a healing space for the community where people were able to come together and support each other. Now, Georgia can talk about our international programs. You're muted, Georgia. Yeah.
I'm muted. Thank you so much, Robin. And I want to echo Robin and Pete first and just say thank you for being here today or listening to this after the fact of the event, and most importantly, for your support for our programs. As Pete said, and as Robin said, we wouldn't be able to do this work without you. I'm Georgia Beasley. I'm the Programs and Partnerships Director for SPI. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our international programs. This year, we worked with 35 partners across 19 countries. So this is the map of all the countries we worked in. And one thing I just want to note is, as you know, we're a small team of 3. The reason that we're able to have such a large breadth of work is because everything we do is in partnership with local communities and local organizations. And so they do the hard work of implementing their programs, and at SPI, we provide them the support to be able to do so. So I'm going to just discuss a few highlights of our international program, and these will be a little bit more like overarching overhead highlights of our international program as an entity, and then we'll get into a couple of program highlights, project highlights. So as I said, we have 35 international partners in 19 countries this year. But at a more overhead level, some of the highlights that we're most proud of is the past 2 years, we've been asking more questions around, how and why do we partner with our international partners? And what does that look like? We've been around for 25 years and we are constantly iterating how we do things. And that's been a big focus for us as an organization. Currently, we have 3 tiers of partnerships and how we partner. The first one is our seed partners. So this is relatively straightforward, right? We enable access to seed and to high quality vegetable seed for organizations that are working in food security or, working with farmers. Our seed partners, for the most part, they are partners that already have agricultural programs going on, but could very much use the support of having access and greater access to vegetable seed. Our second tier of partnership is our fully funded seed grant program. And this is a large bulk of our international programs and partners. Our fully funded seed grant program provides, in addition to enabling access to vegetable seed, it provides small grants to fund their agricultural programs that they are implementing. The way this works is that we receive proposals from our partners, and then we work with them to hone in that proposal and then provide both the financial grant as well as administration oversight, impact evaluation, and other resources for them to ensure that their program is successful. And our third tier of partnership is our large grant program. All of our large grant program recipients are previous fully funded seed grant recipients. So as we work closer with an organization and with a partner, we're able to assess, okay, do we want to keep you at the fully funded grant program level, or is this program, does it have a desire to grow? Does it have the capacity to grow? And given additional resources, could it have a larger impact? Our large grant program is always done after multiple successes with working with them on the different tiers. And in general, it depends on, and it works on co-developing a larger proposal with that partner. And then we're able to facilitate that grant and provide technical expertise in its implementation. Another big part of this program strategy is implementing a stage gate process to review our partners' level of engagement. And this allows us to just make sure that we're working with our partners in the place that makes the most sense for them. One of our second highlights is our capacity building services. Something that we've identified as an organization is that it's not just about the project, the agricultural project that we're working on as the most important thing. It's about strengthening the capacity of the partners that we're working with. So in addition to enabling access to seed and funding agricultural projects, we've honed in on certain partners that we're able to provide additional capacity building services to. And that can look like helping them make 2 to 5 year strategic plans. It can mean, helping them on a grant that they're working on for another funder, and connecting our partners to other resources, whether that's introducing them to other funders that would be interested in supporting their work, introducing them to other organizations that are nearby to them that they could collaborate with, or other experts that might be able to consult and help their programs grow. Another more quantitative but still worthwhile highlight is that over the past 3 years, we've increased our program grants budget by 95%. And now 71% of our international partners are receiving grants in addition to enabling greater seed access. We're really proud of this, and this isn't just about increasing revenue, but it's also about being really strategic as an organization and keeping our budget lean to ensure that your donor dollars are going directly into the hands of our partners. Let's get into a couple of those projects. So one of those projects is with our partner AVEP Public Fund and is located in Issyk-Kul, Kyrgyzstan. I had the honor of visiting this program in September, and it was amazing to see the transformation that's happening with these communities. This project supports 5 villages and 1 vocational school, and 195 farming families and 90 students in the vocational school. This has been a 3-year project, and what's really special about it is its participatory method of defining project activities. So it's very much focused on the beneficiaries themselves, providing input about what would work for them, what would increase their livelihoods, what would be helpful on their farmlands, what would be helpful for their lives. So the first year we started with vegetable growing. Many of these communities, they have roughly around like 2 to 5 vegetables that they normally grow. They depend largely on staple crops as well as on livestock and dairy as parts of their diet. And so we worked with them to expand their gardens and their farms to have 13 vegetable varieties, and the training and the outreach services and the inputs needed to do that. At the end of that year, we asked the women, well, what's next? What else would be helpful for you? And in year 2, we introduced silage production, which is a way to increase dairy production by providing better livestock feed. And that has been very impactful. Most of the families involved in this have doubled their dairy production, which has been super important for both their livelihoods as well as their diets, particularly in winter. And something else nice about this is that the women were able to bring the men in their lives into the project, as men traditionally do livestock activities. So really bringing in the whole family into project activities. Last year was the 3rd year, and per the women's request, we focused on small-scale commercial strawberry growing, which when I visited, the women were just absolutely elated about. Being able to have their diverse vegetable gardens, the silage production happening with their husbands, their brothers, and then having an income boosting project to grow strawberries that are not only have a good value in the market, but all of them enjoy eating as well. This project's been an absolute success. We're going to be continuing it next year. And one of my biggest takeaways while I was there was not only seeing the impact of the project itself, but seeing the empowerment on the communities and the beneficiaries a part of it. Going over from Kyrgyzstan to Guatemala. In Guatemala, we partner with 2 organizations. I know Janet is here today, who works with Amachapul. In Guatemala, we work with Wellkind and Amachapul, both of which are organizations led by and all the participants of our indigenous Mayan individuals. And in Wellkind, we've worked with them for about 3 years. This year, we tried something different. They've been wanting to do a large-scale agroforestry project across 8 communities. So we helped to support and fund that project. And agroforestry is really focused on long-term food security, not just one crop cycle, but looking at restoring degraded agricultural lands, boosting soil fertility, and really transforming that landscape for successful agricultural harvests for years to come. So that project has impacted 4,000 community members, directly working with 300 Mayan families. Just a little bit farther away from Wellkind, we work with Amachapul, who we've worked with for years, and it's a grassroots Mayan indigenous organization that wants to develop their community's ability towards sustainable development. Most recently, we've been working with them on school community greenhouse gardens. And what's really interesting about this project is these are in rural areas, and most of the individuals are agricultural workers, and yet they live in food deserts. And that's because most of the agricultural work done there is on monoculture farms that are aimed for export. So cash crops like banana and coffee. So despite being agricultural workers, they live in a food desert, which is an oxymoron that we are aiming to solve. The schools were chosen by the community because they are community hubs. It's a place where every family is involved in because their kids are there to attend school. And we chose greenhouses because that way they can produce vegetables year round. It's been really successful, and we're hoping to be able to scale that to other schools in the region in the coming years. The next slide I want to talk to you about is about our programs in East Africa. We have a large geographical focus in East Africa, and a big reason for that is because of the intersecting challenges of climate-related weather patterns, including, flash floods and droughts, as well as increased displacement and poverty in the region. So for us, we have 8 really strong partner organizations in the region that we're going to continue to work with and deepen our relationships with them to deepen and expand their impact. Among these 8 partner organizations, our primary focus is with women's groups, smallholder farmers, and schools. In these 8 partner organizations, our programs this year in 2024 impacted over 15,000 people. Here are just some more photos of a couple of in-the-field shots with some of our partner organizations. We have partner organizations in Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia in East Africa. And from Uganda, working with refugees and in slum communities. In Ethiopia, working with low-income farming communities that have faced extreme drought. Somalia as well, working with climate-affected farming communities that are extremely vulnerable. And in South Sudan, working with women's groups. West Africa as well is a growing geographical focus for us, and for similar reasons, intersecting challenges of poverty, displacement, and climate change-related drought and desertification. We currently have 5 partners in West Africa, primarily in Cameroon, Liberia, Senegal, and Nigeria and Ghana. Our partners' focus here tend to be refugees, smallholder farmers, and women. And additionally, this year, our programs with our partners impacted around 15,000 people in West Africa. And here's some shots of some of our partners in action. If we had several hours, I would go through each one of them with you, but for sake of time, we'll just show you a couple of photos. So that's what I've got for
Hello.
So that's what we've been doing with our international programs. The programs are growing, the impact is deepening, and we're really honored to be good stewards of your donor dollars. Next up, we have June Lavelle, one of our board members, who has been working on one of our main programs with Ukrainian refugees in Poland.
My name is June Lavelle, and I have been proud to serve as an SPI board member since 2016. My journey with SPI began after witnessing the transformative impact of an SPI seed donation to schools in Liberia, where I was working at the time. Currently, I live in Poland. When the war in Ukraine erupted in February 2022, I saw firsthand how millions of Ukrainians sought refuge in Poland to escape Russian hostilities. Most of these refugees were women and children, and Poland responded admirably, opening its borders and providing much-needed support. Even now, nearly 1 million Ukrainian refugees remain in Poland. In response to this humanitarian crisis, I partnered with SPI to create the Resiliency Gardens program. This initiative aims to support Ukrainian refugee children and the communities welcoming them by establishing school gardens. Beyond producing healthy vegetables, these gardens offer therapeutic spaces where people can connect and build a sense of belonging in a new environment. To ensure that the program directly benefited refugee communities, only schools hosting Ukrainian refugee students were eligible to apply for grants. These grants covered essential infrastructure costs, including construction materials, soil, seeds, and tools. We had enough funding for 10 schools. While school gardens are a relatively new concept in Poland, the response was encouraging. 23 schools expressed interest in the pilot program for the 2022-23 school year. However, only 2 schools submitted applications, with many teachers explaining that with so many additional students, they would need help to implement the program. To address this challenge, I reached out to my family and friends to raise additional funds, enabling us to recruit teacher aides to provide hands-on support to schools. I also contacted Kids Gardening in the United States to obtain permission to translate and use their educational resources. These efforts paid off, and we successfully launched the pilot program with 7 participating schools. Building on this success, SPI secured further funding for the 2023-24 school year, enabling grants for garden infrastructure at 10 schools and a partnership grant to resiliencygardens.org to recruit and manage a network of teachers' aides. This model has proven essential and continues during the current school year, with support for another 10 schools, bringing the total number of participating schools to 27. In parallel with launching the school garden program in Poland, I sought opportunities to extend SPI support to Ukraine. In the summer of 2022, I connected with Tatiana Lubohorsha, who was leading a Victory Gardens initiative as part of the Support to Ukraine's Reforms for Governance project. Drawing on inspiration from the Victory Gardens of World Wars I and II, the initiative was working to mobilize communities to grow food to address shortages. SPI partnered with Tatiana to support 5 school gardening projects in Ukraine. Today, this partnership continues through the Bukovinian Agency for Regional Development, which is expanding the reach of gardening programs to even more schools. Serving as a board member of SPI and contributing to these impactful initiatives has been a deeply rewarding experience. Together, we are not only providing nourishment, but also fostering hope and resilience for communities in need. I would like to personally thank you for your generous support in these efforts.
Thanks, Robin. I'm Brian Love. I'm a Strategy and Operations Director, and happy to talk to you today about developments that we are undertaking. Next slide, please. I'll be brief, but we're always trying to get better. And 3 highlights for this are: 1, we've started webinars in order to share our understanding and knowledge with a broader group that can carry it forward. We're working on doing seed trialing and demonstration with our international partners so there can be better understanding of the different types of crops that can be grown and the performance that people can achieve. And then we're also working towards scaled seed distribution. So instead of packets, working with organizations that can distribute test quantities of seeds in communities or through networks, coupling this with trialing and demonstration so that there can be broader access, and growers and families can start growing food with varieties that meet their needs, and either return to seed companies to purchase more of that seed when that's a good option for them, or carry it forward if there isn't seed available by saving their own seed and supplying their neighbors and family with seeds of crops and varieties that they find meet their needs, and help them find a pathway out of poverty in these situations where there's communities that need a hand up. So we're all very excited about where this can go. It potentially allows us to have far more impact than we have in the past, where we focused on distributing small packets of seed from repurposed seed in the US. It allows us to work with local seed sources, local organizations, and foster those sort of supply chains and value chains that reach families in need. And uplift, the community and, the broader region in which they're established. So thank you very much for that. You can see a couple of the webinar series that we've done already, and there will be many more.
My name is Toon van der Velde, retired since 2 years after more than 40 years in the vegetable seed industry in Europe, Australia, and the Americas. I have been involved as a board member for SPI for the last 3 years. Previously, with as CEO for Enzazade for North America, I've been donating seed and funding to SPI as well. SPI coming from a background of getting a lot of seed donations in the United States and then distributing the seed all over the world. As you can imagine, that is becoming more and more expensive, time-consuming, and complicated for the organization. So one of the points I thought I could add, I wanted to add, coming on the board of Seed Programs International, is instead of getting the seed shipped from the United States to the 20, 30 different projects in the different areas, I am trying to set up connections in all the areas where Georgia and the team have local projects. And I'm trying to get those local seed companies, and most of them are connected with the global big seed companies that are worldwide present, to get them to donate the seed in the country to the local project that we are supporting. It has a huge number of advantages, including the varieties are very well adapted. Also, we try to connect the smallholder farmers with the seed companies, with the technicians, to give them training, education. And also, once they know which varieties perform well, part of the objective is that after 2 or 3 years of supporting them, they would be able, which varieties they like and which varieties they can then also purchase locally. So that's one of the things I've been doing, is connect. Maybe the next slide is the next slide, please. The part of that project, and then one of the foundations of that objective, is to connect with the local seed organizations. So I've been, of course, for many years involved in the American Seed Trade Association. And at this moment, we are giving presentations and ask for funding. I have been participating in the African Seed Trade Association meetings in Senegal and in Kenya. Then there's been the ISF, which is the Global Seed Congress, which was held in Rotterdam last year. And I participated in the Seed Association of the Americas in Buenos Aires. So part of my contribution is finding and connecting with those organizations. And the other part, which I think is very important, is try to visit the projects and really see what is happening, not as a policeman, but really as supporting the projects. I think it's really motivating for the people, and it really finds us more ways to help with what is really needed in those areas. I just want to make very clear that none of the funding from none of the finances of Seed Program International are used for any of the traveling or the expenses. So that is all part of my volunteer contribution to the organization. And it's really very rewarding to see the organizations and see what's being done with our contributions. So maybe a few more slides, Robin. So this was in Kenya. We get very good support. Of course, there's always challenges, and everybody's very busy, so we have to keep on asking. But the previous project in Kenya was with the help of NZSARDEN and with the help of Star Cares from South Africa. This project in Ethiopia is with the support of Rijkswaan, as you can see. Next one. This one is with the help of a small project with the help of Impulsoris, a seed company out of Colombia. And also we are trying to work on a small project in Ecuador. Next one, please. Then we are working, and just want to say, Brian, I have another idea that we may want to pick up again this project with some government entities in Tanzania, where we are trying to help them be successful in bringing back to life some of what we call the orphan crops that are very nutritious and very important for the local organization. So I think that is my contribution to SPI, and looking forward to continuing this. Thank you. You're mute.
Thank you, Toon. That was wonderful contribution. And next, we're just going to tell you a little bit about our plans for 2025. Next slide. So a big focus on 2025 is to build on the successes that we've been creating over the last couple of years, and specifically last year in 2024. So as Robin discussed with you a little bit about our domestic programs, we've doubled our domestic programs in 2024, and we're really ready to sort of scale that success. We're poised to be able to reach a lot of organizations throughout the states that are working to close the food equity gap by providing them with seeds, as well as other resources. So that will be a big focus for 2025. And secondly, deepening current international programs and partners. We have a lot of strong international partners that, given the resources and given the opportunity, could really expand their impact and their outreach in their communities. So a big focus will be honing in our efforts with them, leveraging opportunities for them, as well as creating partner networks between our partners. So creating regional networks whereby our partners can discuss with each other, and sort of, create solidarity and movement and impact in their areas. Thirdly, another focus for us this coming year is going to build and strengthen a corporate and foundation giving plan to build upon our current successes. We've been doing a lot of great work with our program partners, and we're at a place where if we have the funding, we can really expand that impact. So continuing to cultivate our current corporate sponsors and our current foundation giving sponsors and individual giving sponsors, and sort of building that out and creating a stronger network. So that's what we're focusing on this coming year. 2024 has been an amazing success. And again, it's all possible because of your support. So thank you so much. Maybe Robin wants to chime in a little bit too on that.
Yeah, just to echo what everybody said, we're very thankful for all the support we have from our donors. We have a very diverse set of donors, with people helping us with seed packaging, people volunteering, donating seed, connecting us with new organizations to support, donating money, donating grants. All of that together helps us get that money and those resources into the hands of our partners that are doing the real work on the ground. So we try to keep things lean in our organization. There's only 3 of us, and we have a great board that also provides a lot of support, which is wonderful. And yeah, we thank you, and thanks so much for all of your support. And yeah, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. That was very inspiring.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
doing this.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. I want to really thank the board for their support for Abba Shugul for 11 years. And your support, the SPI support, and the projects you've had there have changed the whole landscape there, the whole, you've changed what people can do with their kitchen gardens. You know, there's a lot of migration that's happened out of this area, which is leaving women and children to provide the food. And they're learning how to do this in the school greenhouse programs. So the impact cannot always be measured in words and data, but it is just absolutely tremendous what is happening in this area because of the school programs. And they learn entrepreneurship, and they learn teamwork, they learn how to start little businesses. And it's just a ray of hope in an area that does not have much hope.
Thank you, Janet. We really appreciate that. We love working with Emma Chaful. They're a wonderful partner.
Yeah, thank you, Janet, and thank you for everybody in those communities that are doing the real hard work.
Exactly.
They're the ones who are lifting themselves up, and if we can provide a support, that's something that we're just privileged to do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.